Hey everyone, Dr. Gabe Ariciu with the last pattern. So if you stuck with me through all of this, this is the last pattern, number 6, and it's receptor site resistance. So you'll see over here that we're talking about the end range of the thyroid hormone. It's once it gets out there into the cells, through the bloodstream and out past the thyroid, past the liver, everything else, and it's now at the cells. What's going on here? It's very similar to insulin resistance. Just like your body, your cells of your body can become resistant to insulin. Your body can become resistant to the thyroid hormone. And so you're going to kind of see this come with a completely normal thyroid panel. And I mean, even the expanded one that I'm doing, it's going to be normal. But they're going to still be fatigued. They're going to be depressed. They're going to have sleep issues, skin problems probably, poor night vision, poor night vision is going to be a new one compared to the other patterns. But PMS and cycle issues, we've seen that before. So there may be some here that are brand new, but most of it is going to be relatively the same. So what we want to look at is reducing stress. That's kind of a big hallmark for most thyroid issues. Reducing inflammation, same. But then vitamin A, and that's kind of honing in on the whole night vision thing. And reducing homocysteine, which is something we haven't yet to talk about. So reducing stress hormones, like in the other videos, we're looking at the emotional ones like relationships, jobs, physical, which is like pain, or chemical, which could be food issues, blood sugar, inflammation. So we want to reduce the blood sugar. That's one of the things that we can easily do it at home, which is a high protein, low carb diet, like a low carb paleo. Don't forget to kind of space out your meals properly, lest it kind of drops off and you run into blood sugar issues there. Meditation's great. I love doing meditation every day. For pain, look for a good chiro or a PT in your area. And you may want to consider, again, an adaptogenic herb, like adaptogenic herb, sorry. So something like rhodiola or tulsi. Ashwagandha is also helpful. There's other herbs out there, but those are the ones I probably use the most common. And then supplementation like magnesium, B6, or zinc can also be helpful. With inflammation, like with the other videos, we're going to be looking at an anti-inflammatory diet, like, again, paleo. Paleo removes a lot of grains, legumes, dairy, sugar, and other sources of food intolerances or at least sensitivities of some sort, removing lots of processed foods. And so this can be highly, highly beneficial for somebody who's struggling, and it may be the big hitter for them. When you remove those foods, though, be careful not to replace them with healthy alternatives. Don't just leave them as a void, because you may inadvertently eat too little, which will then just make you struggle because you're just not eating enough. Some supplements that can help with inflammation are common ones like turmeric, resveratrol. I also like something like mangista, Japanese knotweed, which is kind of a natural form of resveratrol, magnesium, B6, zinc, that sort of thing. Again, go back, don't forget, with inflammation, it's highly tied to stress and insulin issues. Vitamin A. So vitamin A deficiency, really, really important here with thyroid resistance. And we need to remember that beta carotene does not equal vitamin A. Vitamin A is retinol. So beta carotene must be converted into it, and often we do a really, really poor job at it. So where do you get your vitamin A? Liver. Liver is the #1 source. And so I usually recommend about 4 ounces of liver a week. You might want to consider supplementation for the meantime, but make sure it's a good brand. I would highly recommend consulting a well-educated practitioner on this side of things. So homocysteine, we want to reduce homocysteine too. Really important marker to run with blood work, but often not run. So this comes from, is a byproduct of methionine metabolism, which is an amino acid. When it is elevated, it is also a marker of inflammation. So when we're inflamed or we have oxidative stress going on, we will see that rise. But when we are low on B9, B6, or B12, many of these essential nutrients will end up having high homocysteine. Homocysteine is very toxic. It can cause a lot of issues. It's implicated in a lot of heart problems because of the cardiovascular issues that come from it. And when you have too high of homocysteine, you almost automatically have too low of glutathione. Glutathione is our master antioxidant that we create in our house. in our body. So really, really important to ascertain what's going on with homocysteine. It's a marker I commonly run. I want to know what's going on with people with it. And then if you've heard of methylation, this is where methylation takes place. This is the methylation part to it. And so we need things like B9 in its active form, which is 5-MTHF here. So the M there is that methyl part, so methylation. So methyl tetrahydrofolate is what that stands for, or methylcobalamin, as you see here too for B12. A lot of times when you get a B12 supplement, it's cyanocobalamin, which is not its active form. So anytime we get an inactive form, or at least a reduced active form, I guess, it has to be converted into something that we can use. And so some people do struggle with certain genetic issues that make homocysteine a little bit more likely to go high, and they may need to be a little bit more careful. But if you get enough B12 or liver, you might get enough B2, which helps recycle B9 and other helpful nutrients that can really, really assist this pathway, including B12 and all these ones we're talking about. Magnesium is also really important. Pyridoxal 5-phosphate, which is B6, is also really helpful. And just make sure you get a good quality supplement here. It's not going to be that you just go to Walmart and grab a folate off the shelf. That's not how it works. You got to have the good forms here. So highly recommend making sure this is all good if you're struggling with this pattern. So just running a simple homocysteine lab and then reducing overall oxidative stress and inflammation, it will help homocysteine levels to kind of normalize. So conclusion, big takeaway, normal thyroid panel. You're still dealing with fatigue and some of the similar symptoms. You may have some poor night vision that you may have noticed, but it is reducing stress, inflammation through lifestyle changes. Hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, please reach out.